Hey guys, how's it going? Jason with Chewy's Coins and Collectibles. I want to take a couple minutes and talk to you guys about some really cool stuff that's been coming into my office and really want to point out how I am treating these things differently than most other coin dealers. As you can see here on my desk, this is just items that have come into my office in the last 24 hours. Lately, there have been a lot of really cool pieces of silver in particular, although you can find copper and some gold to a lesser extent. But I want to go through these and kind of tell you why I want to make this video. So as you look at these, this is a really cool piece of Star Trek made by Agoro. It is, I believe this one is 2 ounces of silver. It might only be 1, but again, it's got the Spock salute look to it. This is a 1 ounce colorized dolphin. This is a 3 ounce silver base. Like, check this thing out. 3 ounces of silver. Looks like a panda coin, 2025. And then it's got the copper, nickel, and gilded building on top of it. This is 4 1 ounce bars made to look like a Monopoly board. It's a giant Coke can container. It actually has foam that looks like cherry Coke, and then it has a 1 ounce silver cherry Coke can that comes with it. And then a lot of these as well, silver foils. Each of these is only 5 grams of silver, but they have really, really cool designs. They come in mystery boxes. They're kind of chase pieces. There's also really cool hand poured shaped pieces that are coming in, just a kind of more general colorized silver bars and rounds and other cool pieces like this. The reason why I want to take the time and talk about these things is these are really premium pieces. So for the last few weeks, silver has floated right around $50 an ounce. So when you look at these, the 1 ounce pieces are about $50 worth of silver. The 3 ounce piece that I showed you with the building on top, it's $150 worth of silver. If you look up what these items are selling for on eBay or other platforms, it's usually 2 to 3 times that precious metal content. So when you go to a coin shop or anywhere else, pawn shop, whatever the case may be, and you bring those things in, they're going to see that it's 1 ounce of silver and they're going to offer you whatever they pay for an ounce of silver. They typically will not pay you the premium. What makes it different here and why I have a few folks that continuously come back when they have this really cool stuff that's coming out is I will take the time and look up each of these pieces individually, and I will pay you a percentage of what they're selling for. So for example, let's go back to the really cool coin. This guy, 3 ounces of silver, as I mentioned, massive piece. It's about $150 worth of silver. However, if you look up this exact piece, it's got a title. As we look at the COA, Temple of Heaven is what it's called. I believe they're selling for right around, when I looked it up, $325, give or take. So that means if I had given the individual $150, and that's paying full price for the 3 ounces of silver, and then I turn around and sell that for $325, even after fees and everything, I'm almost doubling my money. Now, while it's great as a business owner to make a lot of money, it's something that I feel should be done with respect to the piece that's coming in. I guarantee the person that I bought that from did not buy that for $150 because it's 3 ounces of silver. So what I do is I look up, I see that it's selling for $325. I look and see if that's on an upward trend, downward trend, or if it's staying consistent. And in this case, with this piece, it is selling for about $300 to $325. So what I will do is I will actually pay about 60 to 70% of that number. So on this particular piece, I paid about $200. Is it enough for me to make money? Absolutely. Is it something where the person feels happy that they didn't just get 3 ounces of silver? 100%. So let's circle back to these guys. If you haven't seen them before, they are what are called silver foils. They make them in this size, and then I've seen some that are extremely, extremely large. They come in these little mystery boxes. So if you open this guy up, this is the outer sleeve. This is the main box that it comes in. And this guy right here, so you have a chance when you open this up to get the one that this box is, which is the tier 1. You can get a tier 2. You have a 20% chance of that. A tier 3, which is the non-colorized, or the tier 4, which is a fully engraved and pure gold piece. But as you can see, it is 5 grams of pure silver. If we talk about the precious metal content and what most dealers are paying on this, 5 grams of silver is about $7 worth of silver right now, $7 to $8 if I just kind of round it out. This guy, it's selling for about $35 to $50, depending on if you want to look at kind of averages or the low end of the market. But again, this guy, I bought it at, I think it was about 27 or 28 bucks. I'd have to look at my sheet to know exactly. But that being said, you know, this is more than 5 grams of silver in value, 100%. If you brought all 5 of these in and someone just gave you $45 or 40 bucks for what amounts to about $300 worth of pieces, I'd be pretty sad if I were the consumer that had that happen to me. But unfortunately, that is what happens. That's what happens at a lot of coin dealers when you go in. And again, these are really cool pieces. The technology is there to make some really sweet stuff. Like that is a gold gilded pure silver sundial. There's some really, really sweet things that these manufacturers are able to do. And there's a lot of mystery boxes and things that appeal to a younger audience. So when you come across things like these, whether it is your own personal collection or if you acquired this collection from somebody, find yourself a dealer that is willing to take the time to understand what these things are and willing to pay what they're worth. And again, understand that this is a business and I do have bills to pay for the office and myself, and this is how I provide for my family. But at the same time, I recognize, and there are a lot of other dealers out there that do recognize this too, that these kinds of things are going to sell for more than just the precious metal content. There are some of them that are barely worth more than the precious metal content, and for that reason, I do have to pay just the silver amount. But when I find cool stuff like this, I want to be willing to give you a little bit more because it's worth a little bit more. And when you are looking to sell these things, find a dealer that is local to you, or if you wanted to reach out to me, find out what somebody is willing to pay, because it can make all of the difference in making sure that you get the correct value for your things. Again, those last few pieces were ones that just came into my office within the last 24 hours. Some of those were ones that just came in this afternoon. Here are some more examples of some really premium pieces that have come in. And these ones I've already taken the time to price, and you'll see kind of a little bit of what I'm talking about. So let's take a look. Here's this Darth Vader piece. It's a 1 ounce silver. That's got some really cool, again, color. It's got the galaxy look to it. Comes in this fancy tin. This is 1 ounce of silver. I've had the non-colorized version. The non-colorized version of these sells for about the silver melt value. So if we're talking a $50 piece of silver, it might sell for like 60 bucks. But this one right here, there are comps up to $180. Now keep in mind, on this premium stuff, the market changes pretty quickly. So sometimes these numbers might be a little out of date, but I just pulled a few out of the safe real quick. Here's a really cool piece. It's 2 ounces of silver and then has this glass ball that rests on top of it that looks like planet Earth. And there's a whole solar system series. There are 9 pieces, including the moon. But again, 2 ounces of silver. If we did $100 worth of silver, you know, again, $250 is the market value on that. I think it's worth paying. Here's another really, really cool piece. It is 1 ounce of silver, and then it's gold gilded. And then this contains an original screen-worn piece of Stan Lee's suit or costume from the Spider-Man movie, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 from 2014. This guy is one of the chases in one of these mystery box pieces that I just talked about. $750 is what these have gone for in the past. And again, it's 1 ounce of silver. It's $50 worth of silver. An average Joe dealer could potentially just pay you $50 for this piece if they don't know what it is and you don't know what it is. So if you see cool stuff, again, make sure you keep an eye out on it. Here's a silver tarot card. Again, it's colorized. It's got a lot of information. Another 1 ounce silver worth more than double that silver content. Here's one that's a little more casual. This is a typical silver round, but again, this has some original script, I believe from Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, for episode 5, script cut, and it says R2 in it. So again, more than 1 ounce of silver. 4 1 ounce silver bars, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, in a really fancy display case. So again, really cool display piece. 4 ounces of silver is 200 bucks. And that's what something like that would go for. And then you see these, the Art of DC Comics, they're trading coins. And again, depending on the color border that the 1 ounce silver bar comes in is kind of giving you a rarity and some things. So this is out of 500, number 343. That's the Joker. But again, really, really cool stuff. When you look at these things, again, you wouldn't necessarily think that it's more than the precious metal content, but at the same time, it's pretty obvious that they're not just typical everyday pieces. These aren't your 1 ounce buffalo rounds. These aren't an American silver eagle. These are things that were carefully crafted, oftentimes in limited quantities. As we saw, that was out of 500. A lot of times these will say on their certificate of authenticity how many of them exist. So it's an opportunity to get some really cool stuff. And that's why people like collecting them. But then when the time comes for you to return to that investment, or again, if it's passed along to you from somebody else, you want to make sure you are getting what something like that is worth. And to do that, you want to go to a dealer that's willing to offer you what is a true value for the item and not just the precious metal content on these really cool pieces like this. Hope that was really informative for you. Again, there are a lot of honest dealers out there, but just make sure you as a consumer also know what you have. Be understanding that a dealer is not going to pay you the full market value for it. They are going to pay a percentage because, again, they're in a business to make money. But at the same time, if you have something that's worth significantly more than that precious metal content, you should be getting a little bit more than what it's worth. I hope you found this informative. You can find all of these pieces and many more on my website, chewiescoins.com. Or if there's ever anything you're looking for, by all means, reach out to me through either message or email. And I hope you've got some really cool stuff because I love seeing it. And anytime this stuff comes into my office, I get really excited. So I hope to catch you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube and any other social platform. And I hope to catch you soon.